welcome Gautam Tambay, CEO and co-founder of Springboard.
Good morning, everyone. That was an incredible panel and a hard act to follow, so thank you for that. I am Gautam Tambay. I'm CEO and co-founder of Springboard, an organization whose mission is to bridge the world's skills gap. And we do that by creating the sorts of career pathways that Mallory was just talking about, by helping people scale into new roles. Okay, so we've heard a lot of phenomenal data, some phenomenal frameworks all morning. So what I'm going to do instead is share 3 stories. And hopefully those 3 stories will help connect the dots between all the phenomenal data and frameworks and ideas we've heard to how some of that can apply in the real world. So the first story I'm going to tell is of this young woman who 12 years ago was a very talented illustrator, applied to go to grad school to learn UX design, got into some great programs, and just could not see herself taking a $100,000 loan, and decided not to go to any of them. That young woman happens to be my sister. And watching her go through that process is what inspired me to get into the space and start understanding the challenges that somebody who is looking to get to the skills they need to get to the career they want faces. And if this is somebody who comes from a place of relative privilege, not wealth, 3 generations have gone to college, if somebody like that faces the challenges that she did, imagine, I thought of the millions of people who don't have that kind of access and the challenges they would face. So that's what inspired me to start Springboard 12 years ago. And fast forward 10 years from there, right? I'm going to tell a story of another young woman. This is Debani. She was a frontline worker at Walmart and works a hard job. And like many other frontline workers who are working very challenging jobs, often are single parents, and have a really, really hard day at work, and then are working these jobs that are often dead-end jobs because there's no career progression. What she was able to do is, with the help of Walmart and Springboard, she was able to enroll in a 4-month data analytics program that she was able to work on while she was working her day job. In that program, she was paired with a mentor who was a data analyst who worked at a top company, and that mentor met with her every week, one-on-one, on a video call. She was offered a career coach who helped her get over imposter syndrome and helped her navigate internally what other jobs at Walmart she can apply to. And by the end of it, she's now working a white-collar job. She's a senior quality excellence manager. Right? This is a job that pays a lot more than she had, and most importantly, gets her to a prospect of a career that is fundamentally different from the career that she was in before. This is one story, and we've got a great partner in Jennifer Buchanan at Walmart Academy, who has who really, through their Live Better University program, they have had thousands of such people go through these programs and have real success. That's one story, but in the last 2 years alone, since 2023, just at Walmart and Amazon, with Amazon's Career Choice program, we've had 1,573 such case studies of people going into higher paying tech jobs. So it's incredible what these people are able to do with a little bit of support from their employer, more than a little bit of support, real forethought and foresight, right? And a little bit of help from somebody like a Springboard, right? It's life-changing. And if we look beyond these 2 employers that we worked with, if you look at all of the actual people that we have worked with to upskill and rescale, we've created $1.6 billion over the last decade in increased wages. Right? That's what is possible, but to make that possible, we can't do it alone. Right? It's got to be, first and foremost, forward-thinking employers who realize that this is not a zero-sum game. If I look back at that one case study, right, I was actually looking, Angela, at your the 9 pillars. And if you think back to that one single case study ties back to 5 different pillars from there, right? It's reimagining an employee benefit. because now it's education as a benefit. Like, what can be more powerful than education as a benefit? It's activating frontline leaders. It's creating opportunities for stars, people who are skilled through alternative routes. It is developing a deep talent bench. And ultimately, it's an inclusive strategy. And so it's 5 pillars that one single case study touches. And most importantly, right, like, what's in it for the employer? What we've seen with these employers is a 4 times reduction in attrition in frontline roles when they put people through these programs. Because just the fact that your employer is paying for you to go through a program that's anywhere from a few months long to a couple years long, you're going to stay in that. You feel incredibly grateful, and you feel that you're being invested in, and you feel like you have a future beyond this job where you're stacking shelves or you're working in a warehouse. And from there, you're going to talk about it to your community, and it makes it easier for the employer to hire people for those jobs, because now that's a career pathway. It's not just a dead-end job. It's game-changing. So that's some of the things that we see with our employers: a 4x reduction in both the cost of hiring as well as a 4x reduction in the actual attrition that we see in these roles. The third story I'm going to tell you is, this is me and my son on a hike. He's now 5. He just took his first unaccompanied minor flight yesterday back from Chicago to San Francisco, which is home for us. And not so much of a story, but what I want to share with you is my wife and I have decided to not save for college. And that may seem as blasphemous in many places, and you're like, how are you not investing in your child? But it's because of the future that I see. Right? The future that I see is just like, for a 5-year-old today, it's going to be optional whether they ever learn to drive. I think it's going to be optional to go to college. It'll be a great option, but it's not going to be for everyone. Right? Because the idea that in a world where the average millennial is going to have 15 jobs in their career, and the average job that a graduating Gen Z is going to have in 20 years doesn't even exist yet. This idea that you can consume all your education in a couple of big stints up until you're 25 and pay a few $100,000 for it, which my sister struggled to do, I don't think is the idea of the world we're going to be living in. So then, what's the future? I think you could have somebody at 18 come out and join a frontline role, right? Maybe you're a pharmacy technician, and then your employer invests in you to become maybe a data analyst. And then while you're on the job, you do some more on-the-job training, you become an AI engineer, or whatever role happens to be the role of the future in 10 years. And then you move another job, and then you're now in a new role where you're feeling overwhelmed and you're underwater. Your employer invests in you and gets you one-on-one mentorship, either from internal resources, from external resources, whatever it might be. But your employer is investing throughout your journey. That's the future we see, because the cost of the skills gap is borne most acutely by employers. And I believe that employers have a role to bridge that skills gap and have a lot to benefit from it, as we've seen the case studies. And so that's my question, right? Is how might you level up your talent? And really, if you're an employer, how can you go from being a talent taker, which is the zero-sum game, to being a talent maker, right? That's my challenge to everybody in this room. And I'm supposed to give and a get, right? So my give is, if you are somebody who's looking to be a talent maker, right, or play a role in that ecosystem, we've helped dozens of employers do this, including Amazon, Walmart, and JP Morgan Chase, and tons of great companies. We'd love to be a partner in helping you think through how you can set up your system, right, and help achieve this. The related give I have also is, I'm starting a podcast called Talent Makers, and I would love, if you have a story to tell about how your organization's done this, or who's doing this really well, I would love to invite you and tell your story on that Talent Makers podcast. And in terms of my ask, so we have a decade of doing this incredibly effectively in technology. And we've just started doing this in healthcare, which is where the most acute skills gaps are. And we are starting to do this first and foremost with 2 employers, Fortune 10 companies that I may or may not have named in this presentation so far. But really where we want to get to is work directly with healthcare employers, right? Truly sort of like whether it is pharmacies, whether it is health systems, and help them develop these talent pathways. And if you're somebody who has an in into that world, if you are from that industry, if you're somebody who wants to catalyze and fund innovation in that industry, we'd love to talk to you. So that's my ask, and I would love help on that dimension. So that's everything I've got. Once again, in a world where you're going to have 15 jobs in your career, how can you be a talent maker, not a talent taker? And how can you, by doing that, have maybe 6 or 8 or 10 of those jobs be under the same employer's roof instead of being in 15 different places? That's what we can do together. Thank you.